This is week 6 of my 12-week cycle, the last one of 2017. It was it's tough to get all these products done, really, which I've said a few times, I know, especially because I have a secret project going that really, when I ask myself what's the one thing I need to do to kind of push the business forward, that's what it is. It keeps coming down that that's the thing and that the other things need to wait. Even though that means the best books of 2016 are going to come out in 2018, and shortly thereafter the best books of 2017 are going to come out. But the one thing that's really going to push my business forward is the secret project, which you'll probably hear about in a few weeks. It's not necessarily like big secret. I can't tell anyone at this point. Sort of is, because I'm not telling you. Yeah, so that's the big update for me. Got lots of productive work done. I felt really on fire this week. Feeling up. But some of the products are not happening because I have scripts to write for the secret project and then videos to record and a bunch of other stuff for another project, which you should find out about at the end of this month if you're on the newsletter anyways, because I'll talk about it there in the midst of some new content that I'll provide you, which is all the books, summary of all the books and about all the best articles I read and all the stuff that I really found interesting this month. So after that, this is going to be a longer show because I'm going to talk to Brent Hammond. Brent Hammond, if you're watching on video, you can see him in his little chair over my shoulder off his site. And I went to one of his conference, one of his talks, one of his weekend workshops a couple years ago in Vancouver based off a recommendation from a mutual friend, Mike Vardy. He's over at productivityist.com. And Brent and I had a really good talk about managing energy and just making sure you're focused when you're doing the one thing, the most important task every day, and continuing to bite that off, to eat that frog, to use Brian Tracy's term from his book, Eat That Frog, which I'm reading, so that's what I'm thinking of it. It was a great talk. I really like Brent, and I really like it hasn't been a ton of interactions with him, but I really like talking to him. We did a couple rehearsal calls first so that he had the tech down, and with the workshop I went to a few years ago, it was really good. So yeah, enjoy this, I don't know, what is it, like a 35-minute, 40-minute conversation with Brent about managing energy and making sure that you are just doing the right work, doing the work that matters most, and making sure that you can't go all the time. You have to choose the tasks that work properly for you with the time you have. Thanks for watching. What I like to talk to people about is how they balance work and personal time and still get really good work done. So...
Well, I think they go hand in hand, honestly. And one of the core principles that I work with entrepreneurs on and live is energy management.
Mm-hmm. Well, tell me more about that then.
Yeah. So there's a lot of talk. There's basically 3 resources to make anything happen. Mm-hmm. There's time, money, and energy. Mm-hmm. And for smaller entrepreneurs, money doesn't enter into the equation that much. Nope. It's not the place to focus on.
Why not?
Because you usually don't have it's usually a totally scarce resource. And, money really is a side effect of giving value in a good way, in a way that makes sense, right? Yep. So it's not the best place to focus because your business is dependent upon, I always say the biggest holdback to any business is the person running it where they're held back. So it's the biggest holdback to your dreams. It is where you're held back personally, and you're also the biggest opportunity. You make a huge difference to your business. You're, as a solo entrepreneur or a small business, you make the biggest difference, right? Mm-hmm. And so given that, your energy, there's time, money, and energy. Your time is where most people focus, but it's your energy that counts the most. Because, for example, we actually have lots of time. We could get up at 4 a.m. and work till midnight, right?
Yeah.
But what do we run out of? Energy, right? So productivity or making things happen is really a result of using your energy wisely, like having lots of energy and using it wisely. So keeping the tank full, right?
So how do you advise people to keep the tank full?
Well, I always first of all, I know, and being a business consultant and a facilitator, it's even more important for my energy to be up because I can't actually do much when my energy is down. So, whereas my previous business was more of a production-based business, so my energy didn't matter as much, but it did matter to the productivity of my day, right? So I actually am kind of forced to really, and I would advise to anyone to really check in a lot. Like, what's my energy levels? What's my energy levels? What's my energy levels? And I look at it like a gas tank, right? Like anything below 85% is not optimum productivity, right? So it's to notice, first of all, what your energy levels are at. And then if they drop down to, say 70, 60%, well, what are you going to do to top them up? So the
Mhm.
first part is awareness, right? And you can be driving like with a car, if the gas tank's full or the gas tank's empty, it or near empty, it doesn't make a difference to the performance of the car.
Mhm.
But to the human being, it makes a massive difference. Like if our energy levels are low, we
Mhm.
don't think as clear. We're more pessimistic or doubtful about our future. We're not as happy. People aren't as attracted to us because who wants to be around someone with low energy, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we're basically not that productive when our energy levels are low. But when our energy levels are high, different story, right? That's where the flow state comes in,
Mhm.
right? If your energy's up and you're in the zone, you can make a lot happen in a short period of time, and you feel great. So
Yes.
how do you keep your energy up? Well, first step, like I said, is awareness, looking at what your energy levels are at, and then doing something about it. And that informs my day or week a lot, actually. Like if I'm finding my energy is too low, then and I kind of look ahead. Oh, I've got a client this afternoon, and I have taken the morning off because I have a client this afternoon
Mhm.
when I have work to do. But it's like, no, my energy levels are too low. Got to top them up. What am I? Maybe I'll take the morning to go to the gym or go outdoors some or
Mhm.
anything, right? And really, it's about finding those things that boost up your energy and that work for you, and putting them into your day. And you and I like the outdoors. We
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
right? Those are boosters for us. But like, what
Mhm.
would be another booster for you?
Hanging out with my kids to some extent as well. So I actually work
Yeah.
what I started calling mullet productivity now. I get up at 4:45 and I work like 6 to 9, really focused on usually reading and writing and those type of tasks. And I take a 3 hour break, and then later in the afternoon I'll come back at it again from like 12 to 3. And it's
Yeah.
funny, over the last number of weeks, I've tried to take out that 3 hour break in the middle. And where I would normally get 5.5 good hours of solid focused work in 6, I'm getting like 6.5 in 9. Like
Yeah,
it just
exactly.
drops off so dramatically at the end. And I'm always like fighting that last little
Because
bit.
your strategy is really built around energy levels. Like
Mm,
you work hard for 3 hours, you use up some of the
yeah.
gas in your tank, then you refill it, and then you
Well,
go
yeah,
back
yeah.
out.
Yesterday I went for a 10K run up a local mountain. It's not even. It's kind of green, right? You go through a subdivision in and out, but that was in the rain, and I came back, and one of my clients, he said they had an emergency I really had to deal with, and so I started about an hour early, but like I went right through to like 3:30, and like felt really good, and finished off the day. I was like, I'm feeling good now. When I think I read stories to my middle kid after that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's the other thing is if you want a good life, you got to. That's the other reason. It's not just making stuff happen; it's having a good life. Like how can
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
when we're most pessimistic or doubtful about our life is when we have the lowest energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're sick, lying in bed, and you're like, "Oh my god, my life." You're right.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
your energy levels are like probably a 2, right?
Mm.
And the side effect also of keeping the energy levels up. I haven't been sick in 3 years, right?
Yeah, yeah. I can't say that, but I have little kids that start
Yeah.
school and bring a whole bunch of extra germs
Yeah,
home
they,
for
they
me.
bring a lot of challenges, a lot of they challenge our immune system.
They do. I think the sickest I ever was like 4 months when my oldest, who's now 7, started daycare, and it was like from September right through to Christmas. We were sick like every week.
Yeah, and
All of
and
us were.
what you really do when you're around those kinds of bugs is like boost your immune system,
Yeah.
which again is keeping the energy up, right? But
Hmm.
it is challenging with the amount of stuff they bring home.
It is. Yeah. So like
Yes,
we do a lot of similar, like, or at least similar idea, right? Managing your energy. And on Fridays I have a long coaching day, but that's really the only day that I do like
but
coaching
then
pretty
do
much all
you
day.
charge up on Thursday extra, or and recharge
Thursday
on
I do the same
Saturday?
day. So coaching for me, like I finish coaching on one side tired, and on the other side, like I want to go run, or like I'm bouncing off the walls excited at the same time. Like I go
Yes.
talk to my wife and I'm talking a million miles a minute. And I'm not usually a big talker, really. Like my wife and I are sitting around the kitchen, she's telling me stuff, and I'm going, mm-hmm, yep,
like 5 words here and 6 words there. And like, I'm excited after coaching. So I feel
kind of ramped. Excitement is a little different than it's like your energy's kind of hyped.
It is.
Right?
Yeah. But like, I couldn't do that day after day after day all the time. Right. Even as I look at doing more coaching, I will still keep that morning block free for like myself and quiet time. Like I don't get out my phone until I don't, no screens before coffees. That means even like I'm not reading the news or anything. And I don't check before coffee. So like I'll get up at 4:45 and I walk the dog in quiet around town. There's nobody up. Right. And
the screen usage really is key too. Like I shut my screens off at 9:00 at night.
Yep. My phone lives in a charging drawer downstairs. And then when I'm out in the morning, I take my iPad Pro only. That's my writing tool. And there's no real other distractions on it. I could take my computer, right? I have a MacBook Air. I could just go in my backpack and I could take it. Yeah. And that also allows me to, like, I can commute out to the Starbucks and then run like the long way back right through the farm fields. And it's not too heavy on the back to just build that right in. So for days that were a little more, because some days you are cramped on time, right? I got kids to get places and other stuff too. So lets me get some break in and some rest in.
Well, and those more intense days are natural. You're going to use a lot of energy, but you got to balance them with less intense days.
Yeah. And Wednesdays.
That's why I wasn't that. That's a lot of people would go to Whistler just for fun, but I went to recharge, right? And hung out in the Scandinavian spa for 5 hours and wrote and relaxed and just stressed and built my energy up. So it's nice and good for today to start the week because, hey, it's Tuesday.
It is Tuesday.
Yeah.
And like I do, say my Mondays are often longer. Tuesdays are enforced shorter because I have kids that need to get to skating. Wednesdays I'm done at lunch because I have kids to get to skating. And then Thursdays are also done at the same time at 3:00. Sorry. So like I only have 2 days where I could possibly put in like some big long day in the week. And I very rarely work weekends. I think, and since I've had a kid, I've maybe done a weekend twice a year in 7 years.
But you still get a hell of a lot done, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, I think the biggest thing that people don't focus, right? So I'm talking to you and we're like, I'm just talking to you. I'm not checking other things. I had my email open before just in case you email me, but that's it, right? When I'm writing, I take my iPad Pro and that's all I've got. I don't have there's no Twitter, there's no other things. I'm not dipping into things.
Yeah, it really is there's really two keys. There's the keeping the energy up, the tank full, and then what are you going to do with it? Because if you're focusing on multiple things, it's going to drain energy pretty fast, and it's not going to, you want laser focus as much as possible.
Yeah. And it can be hard, especially as you do creative stuff too, right? Because it's easy to procrastinate on marketing in air quotes and you're just surfing around on Facebook or something. That's not useful, right? I mean, even when you messaged me last week, because that's when our call was going to be, you messaged me and I probably 24 hours later, I got back to you because I hadn't even looked at Facebook, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Right. It's just I don't know what'll happen. I had a friend message me on Friday and he's like, you didn't get back to me when I was at church. And I was like, well, I didn't look at Facebook. So that's not the best way to get a hold of me. Phone me.
Well, there was a saying that I liked. Distraction is the new procrastination, really.
Yep.
Right? We don't procrastinate as much. We just find something else to take our attention away. But it's a form of procrastination. People don't talk about procrastination so much anymore.
No.
It's about distraction.
Yeah. Well, we're so busy doing something, right? Whether or not it's actually a useful tool. And like you said, we're just killing our energy on all these things that ultimately don't matter, right?
No,
even when we first got introduced, a mutual friend of ours, Mike, said, hey, you should go to Brent's thing. He's in Vancouver. And I did. And we've interacted a few times since then, but it's not like and I don't think you're following every little thing I might say somewhere or every picture I post, or because we both have things to do. And we just both have things to do, right?
Well, I find that, when I was on holiday recently in the Cook Islands, I looked at Facebook. I had internet on my phone. But it was very different use of it. I would just be posting a few things and interacting with people posting. That would be it. I wouldn't be looking through the news feed I'll admit I've done that before.
Yeah, I think we all do sometimes, right? As much as to say I don't, Instagram gets me sometimes.
Does it? Yeah.
Yeah, it gets me.
But when I find myself scrolling through a news feed, then like what am I really looking for? Right? I'm not going to find it.
No, you're not. You're looking. There's some other thing you're avoiding, right?
Well, maybe I'm feeling like I want some connection, or I'm just avoiding. The real thing is like there's hard work over here, and here this looks like more fun, but it's not rewarding.
No. So how do you pull yourself back to focus in the midst of those distractions?
Well, really the key for me is focus periods, which is that I blocked off time. And if I am distracted, if I am finding my day kind of going off the rails, then 30-minute focus period.
Yep.
So 30 minutes is perfect because for me, and I think it's different for everyone. For me, 30 minutes is ideal because I can do 30 minutes without thinking that's a lot of time. And then I can renew the 30 minutes after the 30 minutes is up. But the idea with focus period, what I mean by that is my phone goes in airplane mode. My email program gets closed. I set an intention for the 30 minutes. I want to make a dent in whatever it is. That is often the intention. I want to make a dent in an upcoming talk, or I want to, whatever it is. And then that's it. For 30 minutes, I focus on one thing, right? And, with creative tasks, it can be kind of spread. Like, let's say I'm doing a talk. Well, I'm focusing on putting a dent in the talk, but I might be I have to follow where the energy goes, right? It's not necessarily, I am working on, it's not totally specific all the time, but it is one intention, right? One intention, phone off, and a countdown timer, or whatever. There's an app that I haven't used lately, but I use sometimes, called Focus.
Yep. That's, and a 30-minute timer or like 25 minutes is a Pomodoro cycle usually, right? So if you're looking for other apps, the any Pomodoro timer can help trigger you on that stuff for sure.
And I like the principles of that, but I don't like necessarily that it's 25 minutes, because I think we vary. I have a friend that needs 2 hours. He says, my focus periods are 2 hours. That's what I need. And he has no problem sliding into them.
But that 25-minute or whatever half-hour block is a good starter, right? I do not use a timer every day. But days when I'm like sitting there, I'm like, I just wasted like 15 minutes. I just start one. I just start one. And usually what I find is it rings and I say, no, I'm still going. Nope, I'm still going. I know the keyboard command, so I just trigger it to keep going. Right. And I'll look up 2 hours later and I'm like, okay, well, I feel like I got something done, but I wish I had more time in my day to focus a little more, because I feel like I'm really on the roll. Right.
Yeah. And if you go too far, then you burn the energy out and you shoot yourself in the foot. That's why it's going too less or too much. But 25, 30 minutes is perfect, because you can kind of say, it's only 25 minutes or it's only 30 minutes, and your brain doesn't resist much.
No, but again, like you said, with intention, right? It's not just, I will focus on something for 25 minutes. I will focus on what?
Yeah, exactly. Define it, shut off the interruptions, define it, and then jump in. Right.
Yeah, actually on Fridays, it can pretty much tell you what I'm going to work on every morning for the whole week. And my afternoons I let them be a little more scattered. So that's where I'm more likely to have email or have a chat program open where I'm talking back and forth with my coaching clients. But the mornings are focused. My phone is even in do not disturb mode. My wife cannot text message me because I will not see it. Well, she can. I just won't see it. The only thing that gets there was a phone call from her. Do not disturb
mode is my friend.
Yeah. It almost always lives in that. So like most of the time, like my wife last week, going on, one of our daughter pooped her pants, and I can't do anything. Like I'm working, right? I'm supposed to be working and I'm not close to the house. So, and then it was like, and get milk too, please. So I saw that an hour later and said I got milk when I came home. So,
yeah. And so energy management is what we talked about, and then focus periods.
Yeah.
And the other thing is planning your week that way. Like you said, you plan your week out, right?
Yep.
So I like to kind of divide my week by modes. And I guess there's different definitions of modes, but for me, it's, here's my modes: business building, client work, admin, and that's my 3 work modes. So I'm either I'm either doing something around business building, and then that'll narrow down into the project I'm doing, right?
Yep.
Like if the mode is business building and I'm working on a talk for January, then I'm gonna chunk that out in my week in advance,
Mm-hmm.
and focus only on that energy. So the idea is not jumping around between hats, right?
Yep.
I'm in the business building hat, which is kind of more of a stretchy hat, whereas client serving mode, where I have a client consultation,
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty easy for me because I'm just serving them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. And then admin mode is all the little stuff that I group together because I don't want to, the big stuff is separate from the little stuff. Otherwise the little stuff eats the big stuff.
Absolutely. And I think another big key there is to decide what you're going to suck at in the other times, right? So when I'm working on Focus Creative, which is Mondays pretty much all day, Wednesdays, Thursdays, if I don't get to my email, I don't even worry about it. I schedule pretty much all of that for Tuesdays when I do calls like this. I do some admin in the morning, and then I'm having a call with you. I'll have some lunch, and then I will do more admin stuff. And that's when I'm kind of in and out of email and out of this. I wrote 4 cards this morning to customers, right? And that's what I did then at that point. And I came up, I need to write one other. I'm like, I don't have time before the call. So I bumped it off to next Tuesday. Right. And on Friday, I plan no creative work because I'm basically coaching the whole day. And
it's great to do that. Mm-hmm. It's great to have a break from the creative work too.
Mm-hmm. It absolutely
is. It's very creative all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, my client days is pretty easy for me because I just focus on serving them and I don't have to think about my big stuff. Right?
Yeah. You need to show up. You need to think and help them out. Right.
And go in there with some good energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right?
That's right.
And I balance those work modes. So that's where the work and personal to me aren't totally separate.
Mm-hmm.
Is I balance that with relationships and fun, people connection, and self care is which would be the exercise. There's so many things I can even get started on what you can do for self-care, but
and it can be that people connection too, right?
Then they can cross over, and if they're the same thing, that's even better, right?
Something I've started doing locally here is hooking up with a friend, and we actually go out for a walk instead of just sitting in the coffee shop. First off, because it's raining and you can't pull out your silly phone, and when we're having a conversation about something, because it's raining and you don't want to get it all wet. And it's just great to be outside. We walk along the river down here, and it's just great. So I even started taking local meetings like that with just like a new client. I'm like, we're going to go walk in the rain. Like, but I'm in my suit. Well, bring your umbrella. Let's go.
I've done sessions, hiking sessions with clients where we've been hiking together, and I brought a clipboard.
That's perfect.
Yeah, exactly. But I do a lot of my calls, my personal calls while I'm walking. I just you got 10 minutes to talk? Okay, I'm going for a walk. Call you back in a sec.
Yep.
Suit up, out I go.
Yep.
I would like to get one of those umbrellas. There's an umbrella that have you seen those that they attach to so your hands free?
No, I don't. I used to guide outdoor trips for years, so I have a really big wide brim Gore-Tex hat that I'll wear.
Oh, okay, there you go. So
keeps all your vision free, and it's like fleece lined too, so I can tuck my ears into it when it's a little cold, and then just suit up with everything. Gore-Tex for this area, right? Boots and pants and.
Yeah, and I think what you're talking about is doing things that hit more than one mode at a time. That doesn't work for business building and admin, but it works for self-care. I've done, sometimes I'll go for a walk, get some exercise in, and I'll bring my audio recorder and I'll just use it as thinking time for an upcoming talk.
Yeah. Lots of these podcasts are recorded. Lots of these podcasts are recorded off my phone, and I'm like out in the mountains somewhere, and I'm like, hey, check out that sunrise at the same time, which is nothing for the audio people. But on YouTube, they can actually see it sometimes, depending on the contrast. And lots of them, as I'm listening to podcasts up there, I've stopped and heavy breathing up a hill, talking about whatever just got triggered. So
when I do calls with, sometimes the client wants to call it an odd hour. I said, well, I'm going to go walking then. Usually I'm in front of my computer giving them my full attention, but if they need something like an emergency call or something, then I might be out walking during it. And people, actually, the thing I do a lot is work in different places. So I've had clients go, okay, where are you now?
Yep.
But one of my favorite places is the Coquitlam River, and throw my outdoor chair into my bike panniers, bike down there, set up. I actually have a portable outdoor table too that I brought before, and set up down there by the river.
Yeah.
People kayaking by or down the river at certain times of the year kind of look, oh, that's odd. Someone sitting in a computer beside the river, but it works.
That's beautiful though. Yep.
Yeah. I've actually had a bear come at me during a client call. It's like a quick swear and a hang up, and I hung up on them quick. Oh my, I hung up on them and then call them back 2 minutes later after I cleared out of the way because the bear was swimming towards me.
Yep.
And they're like, "What happened? What happened?" I'll go, "It was a bear."
Yep.
So I looked up from my call and there was a bear swimming towards me.
Awesome.
But that, it just adds more energy and fuel to the day to be outdoors, to be exercising when I do it that way.
And so what's the biggest mistake you see people making at managing their energy?
Well, I would say thinking that I'll just like the simple out of I'll just work more hours, right? I'll just work longer.
I think people substitute more hours for effective work so often. They just
absolutely. Yeah, and it's working hard versus smart, really, is the way to say it. So I won't think, I won't plan, I won't manage my energy, I won't do certain things that really work. Instead, I'll just work harder. Right?
Yeah. I'm surprised at friends who have children and are married and stuff, and I'm like, I can't believe you still work all night too. Like your wife lets you get away with it. Might not be the right word, but your wife is okay with that, because I know mine is not, right? She's like, no, you're here with the kids and you're helping with dinner.
I've done that in my early entrepreneur years, working 18 hours a day, every day. Sundays was only 10 hours. But it was really it really wasn't seeing other avenues. Like I was blinders are on. This is what I got to do. But meanwhile, if I could expect, and that's really the importance of perspective. Because if this is how I'm seeing, I've got to get this done. I've got to get this done. But what if I went like this and looked, maybe I could do this instead. Right. There's always smarter ways to work.
Yeah. And there are some seasons with extra work. Like I said, the last 5 weeks I've done cut some of the relax rest time out and done some extra work. Now, as I said, a lot of my productivity dropped off with those extra hours, but to push a certain thing out. And then this week, after 5 weeks, I'm back to, more of my regular schedule, right? My wife and I also decided that I would enter into a time where I went out and had more coffee with people and met with people more often, was out of the house, an evening or two in the week to meet with more people. But we decided that together, and then we here's the boundaries. We will do one per week. That's it. Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. And life does work in cycles, right?
Yeah.
I was, there's really 3 creative cycles. There's a time where you're pushing and you're focused on usually a deadline's involved or a project, but you're in push mode and you're working harder and you're putting more hours in. And let's say I've got an upcoming talk in 2 weeks and it's a new workshop or something. Well, then I'm going to be in a push mode. I'm going to be working longer hours. And then it's opposite, which is, the 2 weeks I just took to Rarotonga and Aitutaki in the Cook Islands.
Yep.
Where I just disconnected and fully recharged and enjoyed myself.
Yep. And
then the third cycle is cleanups and little stuff, which I find is kind of in between them, right?
Yeah.
I'm wrapping up from a push or I'm clearing space because I've got to push ahead.
Yeah.
So I kind of see it kind of flowing, and we're usually in one of those cycles. I was just in the recharge renew cycle,
yep.
Right? And then today I've got a busy day. I had some work this morning, podcast, and some work this afternoon. So it's more of a push. And then tomorrow it's going to be more admin and little stuff, and I've got a lot of stuff to clean up. But you can kind of cycle. So I think if people recognize which cycle they're actually in and just embrace it. So if you got a deadline and you're in a push cycle, it's not the time to be thinking about, taking time off or getting distracted with little stuff.
Yeah. Right? It's time to do that one thing well.
Yeah, that one thing well. Or if you're in, you've got all this stuff and incompletes around you, well, then maybe you need to jump into cleanup mode and clear some space for yourself. Right?
Yeah. I think that too often business owners get stuck between the push and the cleanup, though. They don't ever, there's always this mythical future in which point they will be able to take a rest, and they never do the work to make that happen, right? They never.
Yeah, and I think if you're monitoring your energy, you'll see when you need to take more time off, and it needs to be every day to an extent.
Yeah.
And these cycles can be kind of macro, or they can be big or small, right?
Yeah.
Like, so you can go through these cycles in a day, right? Mm-hmm. Where I got up this morning, I did my morning routine, I was in recharge renew mode. And then I checked emails and cleared a few things. I was in little stuff mode for a very brief period of time, and then into the day where there's multiple things today, but one thing at a time, right?
Yeah.
Right. And then there can be the bigger cycle where, my holiday for 2 weeks was, and then there was there's actually, for me, November and December are going to be fairly light, but January is a lot in January. I can already tell January is going to be a very push month. So, yeah.
So how do you make sure you're prepared for that? You're resting up front. You said fairly light. Is there anything else you do?
Clearing space so that when it does come into that push period, I don't have all this stuff, right? Distracting me. Like my finances are caught up, and my clients are in a good place, and all the little things that need to be handled, right, are out of the way. I've got a list of cleanups right now, so I'm actually going to be spending a lot of time in November and December clearing space in my life, because I've got a lot of things that I want to wrap up that are smaller projects. And then in January, it's full on, right? So I want to be recharged, and I want to be recharged and renewed, and have my space fairly clean. So when I go into January, I can just go full on in January. And then probably February because January is so full on, I'm sure I'm going to have some cleanups in February too.
Yeah.
As leftovers, because not much is going to get done except for what has to get done. January is going to be intense.
Cool. So is there anything else you'd advise business owners to do to make sure that they're knocking it out of the park?
Focus on less. Know what your main goals are for the year, but mostly what your main goal is for the year. Right?
Cool. Yeah. Your main priority, as in singular.
Yes, exactly. but focusing on less, and the whole 80-20 thing that we all hear of, but we probably all need to practice more.
Have you ever read The One Thing? It's a book.
Yes, I have. I liked it. I found it a bit repetitious.
Yeah.
Because I got it right away. And
yep.
Yeah. The other thing, there's another book called The Slight Edge, which is a different. I like that book, right? And that's very repetitious. It's different than The One Thing. It's another, I think, important principle to success, which is what's the little thing you need to do every day consistently? Because in the West, we're so focused on people that are successful have made a breakthrough, right? Like the actor wins an Oscar and is in the $20 million movie club.
Yeah. But really, they did one little thing the whole time, right?
So. Yeah, it's consistency. It's doing little things every day over and over and over and over again.
There's talking about, what is it? Like, would you rather have $100 now or a penny a day for a month, right? Penny doubled a day for a month. And by far the penny, right? It's just that same idea where like you push one little domino. So you start at the microscopic level, but everyone doubles, right? I think it's within 30 days, like you just knocked the moon over. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Dominoes are amazing because they can knock over a bigger domino.
Yeah, 50% more or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And one domino this big could knock over a domino from here to the moon.
Yeah, and everyone keeps worrying. I think too many people keep worrying about that big one that's going to hit the moon. They keep going for that one, as opposed to the little thing. I was just read Perennial Seller, and it talked by Ryan Holiday, and he talked about when he helps people market specifically music, but any product, he finds like the most niche, obscure place to start, and he like finds the blogs that are talking about like the nichest part of that music industry and starts there, because they then starts building out from that little tiny spot. right?
Yeah, and just building momentum, right? And consistently. And it's amazing the breakthroughs that come as a side effect to that, right? So that book talks about that. That book uses the same example you just said about, oh geez, I forget now.
The domino?
Before the domino.
The penny.
The penny, yeah. It uses that example, right? There's a story around that. But
yeah,
that's another equally important principle to success is focus on the little recurring thing that happens over time. And when I look back at my biggest successes, that's the case, right? Was just getting into motion, building on it consistently. And that's where, even in building a business, even if you could just spend an hour a day in business building mode, looking at what's the most important thing to move forward your business and do that an hour a day, nothing more than that, right? And say the rest of the time you're in your business or you're in your work, but an hour a day you're spent on it, that over time would do it. And if that hour, if you had good energy and you were focused, like we talked about earlier.
Yeah, not just leaving it to the dregs of your day.
Yeah, definitely don't leave it. Yeah, that's the thing is that's the other thing. If something's important, put it when you have energy.
Yeah.
Like the leftovers of the day can be admin and paperwork for me.
Yep.
Right. For some people, admin and paperwork, they need to have high energy, but right. But some of those little things that you can do in your sleep, that can be for the low energy times of your day. But high energy, you need to focus on what's most important to you and what requires energy.
So where can people find out more about you, Brent?
BrentHammond.com.
All right.
How about that? Yeah, they actually they can sign up for my sporadic emails at the moment. They will become more consistent because I'm just getting into that. But they can sign up to get emails from me with where I can let them know about upcoming events and provide free content. So,
awesome.
And I got some stuff planned for the new year. So definitely, if they want to stay in touch, that's the place, BrentHammond.com, and get the name on the email list.
Awesome.
And then I've got a page there for events that shows some of the stuff coming up. But who goes to websites unless they're queued, right?
Yeah.
So better to just get on the email list if you're interested in finding out more about what I do, or you want some of the value I can give, then just get on the email list and you'll hear from me.
Awesome. Thanks, Brent.
All right, Curtis, great to talk to you today.